the all-new Audi Q3, the first time here in natural sunlight, and this year also the Audi Q3 Sportback, because this version will be once again here in this generation. We can take you on a tour of the new Q3 Sportback with Thomas Autogefühl in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go. In the front, really strong styling here in the S-Line trim. And then we can see here the really wide Audi ring sensors behind it, open design here with the front grille and the black contrast in the lower part. Glacier white is the color here for today. The main headlamp unit is in the lower part, daytime running light in the top part. It's split, and the headlamp logic is base LED, then there's an LED plus, and then on top of that a digital matrix LED with a very high resolution which can project things on the ground, and also has this selective high beam that you can drive with high beam on, but at the same time don't blind anyone else in the traffic and so on. Then the all-new Q3 in the length is 4.53 meters or 178 inches. That's 4 centimeters longer than before. And once again here the Sportback version, which has this falling roofline. The roofline is here is 3 centimeters lower than the usual Q3, which we have recently shown to you. You can also compare the video then later on. And the interesting thing is that in Europe, this one here is a very, very popular edition actually. So sometimes you think like, it's just a little share or something like that, but it's actually the share is overall 60-40. That's pretty interesting, isn't it? The normal Q3 would have 17-inch base and up to 20-inch wheels. These here are already then the largest wheels, option available, 20-inch, really massive styling. The difference Q3 and Q3 Sportback is that they here already start at 18-inch, so 1 inch higher, and the price is also 1,500 euros more expensive, but it already has like something more already in it. And then the question is, if you like this falling roofline or if you more prefer the classic SUV styling, you also have these aerodynamic inserts here. The aerodynamics are, by the way, a little bit worse than with the Tiguan of the Q3 in general. But of course the Sportback always has some better aerodynamics than the SUV in comparison. Then you have the illuminated Audi rings here. Well, maybe there's a train approaching or something. Then here these OLED in the rear. These are organic LED, because the polymer is creating the light basically, and it's a very interesting structure. It looks really crystal clear, so to speak, and it has to be really sealed off that there's no moisture inside and so on. Light strip goes all the way around, and pretty spectacular as always the turning indicators. When the vehicle is in white, the S-Line here has even more stronger contrast here in black. You can see the darker the color is, the less is the contrast basically. You have a front-wheel drive model usually, but there are also all-wheel drive versions. The strong version is a 262 horsepower TFSI 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, then front plus rear on demand, 5.7 seconds. This one, the engine we have here, is the e-hybrid. And we can soon take a look under the hood and also at the side charging flap, because for the e-hybrid, the plug-in hybrid is the biggest change, so to speak, because now the battery is at 20 kilowatt hours net. There you can see the orange components, everything for the plug-in hybrid. This one is based on the 1.5 TSI, which is available pure combustion, but also here as the plug-in hybrid. And this is, so to speak, the biggest change. This one here, front-wheel drive only, however. The exact engine specs, horsepower figures and so on, you'll also find in the video description and also in the pinned comment. And charging also with an upgrade, 11 kilowatt AC or even 50 kilowatt DC charging. Then you have 10 to 80% in about 30 minutes. That's of course also very important. And when we talk about the technological things, suspension, base suspension or fixed sport suspension, or an adaptive suspension, which now has a 2-valve system like the VW Tiguan in the all-new generation or the Cupra Terramar. In Hungary, there's a plant of the Audi Q3 where Terramar and Q3 are built together. Tiguan is built in a separate plant, but these three all share the same technology. They are sister or brother models. This is the key fob. It's nice design, definitely. Door closing sound. Very solid, like that. Especially the rear door has a very solid door closing sound. Then interior, put the key inside. Here there's some microfiber inside. The ambient lighting shines through in here. This is an interesting structure here visually, but also soft then. And then also nice clicking sounds with the window levers at the inside. Classic control also to change here the control of the side mirrors. I really appreciate that. I would wish fabric at the inside of the doors at least has some rubber bottom that things don't fly around that easily. S-line interior here as well. You can see the interior sill badge. Then this is also the S-line steering wheel, so to speak. Also illumination from these buttons. They also have some clicking feedback at least. And really interesting, we've seen it with the all-new Q3 the first time, these turning indicators here. And it's a nice integration, why not? And also here for the wipers, that's a funny application that you can change it right here. And nice also here, these details here for the cruise control settings. These are the seats, a mix of animal leather and leatherette. Which part is which, you cannot really differentiate. That's why I say just go completely animal free and make it more animal friendly, and the materials are better meanwhile. For the EU market, there are good offerings in fabric and microfiber seats. We recently saw the top sports microfiber seat, the highest trim seat available. Sadly not available on the Northern American market. Then here with 189, 6'2", still enough headroom left, and the steering wheel, manual control up and down, in and out. And you see this integration of this new unit where left side you have the indicators and the wiper control. Here you would click to clean the windshield, and on the right side then is for shifting and so on. And yes, here, look at that. First time here with a nice illumination again, this digital analog meter we all wanted to see back. Here you can also see it live in action. Welcome to this cockpit here. This is like a decor element, bright one. I heard there will also be wood available. Then the microfiber covering right here. Top of the dashboard, by the way, is also slightly soft. Then you have this integration here of one unit, 13-inch on the right side, 12-inch on the left side. And the glove box also nicely dampened, sounds good. Also here the vent controls, and I'm really happy to still have buttons in the lower part. Here, by the way, also a special EV button for the pure electric driving of the plug-in hybrid drivetrain. Then here for the volume and for like the track selection. In the front you can slide this open, inductive charging pad, which is also actively ventilated, and two USB-C chargers, 12-volt power supply, clean solution here. Cup holders are here with 4-dot adaptive design, that's nice. Integrated electric parking brake. And then here is also a little bit softer for your elbow. I think the microfiber one recently in the Q3 was a little bit better in the Q3 SUV. Then there's space underneath, even goes a little bit forward like this. So, and this one can also be adjusted in height. Also, by the way, these seats here are definitely less comfortable than the microfiber seats lately, because the surface here is way stiffer and that doesn't adapt so good to the sit bones. That's a very important thing to know. Here, by the way, again, 189, 6'2", some headroom left than here in this version. And is even more important to control all of this in different user interface stuff than when really sitting in the vehicle here now. And here, by the way, also nice here, this cover here from the middle console. This part, it's really soft when you touch it, you know, like a real knee pad. This also shows a good build quality, and it's on both sides. And this is, by the way, the animal-free steering wheel, first time available in the Q3. Driver POV, yes, two-dimensional Audi rings. I would prefer three-dimensional ones. You can still feel them, but not like on the inside for real. Three-dimensional is better, actually. And then you can see how these new controls look like from here with the turning indicators like this. And then here for the wiper control. And on the right side then, it's really interesting then here for putting in drive, sport mode, reverse or park then. And you also have shifting pedals here. And it's really cool once again to take a look at the instruments where we have back the digital analog meter. Yes, here we go. We have requested this from Audi. And then you have the head-up display here. It's not flickering on in real life. Then the main infotainment unit. You see here is also like the satellite view like this. Looks actually quite good. In the lower part, you can press this button and then you directly go to assistance system where you can deactivate the speed chime. You can also deactivate it in the top part. It's like an EU law that you when exceed by 1 km/h. Or you can also press and hold this button, this is the favorite button, then you can set individual functions. There we go, individual functions, what you want to have on there. So this is all possible. And the drive select, here you can click through the different driving modes here, and that looks pretty cool. Comfort, dynamic efficiency, and so on. The visualization is also so much more fluid and quick. So great upgrade as for the hardware. Here the climate unit is better accessible than in an A6 or A5, honestly, but not the best still. Classic Audi turning knobs would be definitely cooler here, but it's a little bit better accessible than in the other new Audis, but still not a good solution. Let's take it that way. And this is the main menu. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto connections are of course also available, and the plug-in hybrid then also has a special EV menu. And Leah has already activated the seat heating to warm up a little bit from the filming outside. Rear seats, soft touch here in the top part, also a visual structure, then microfiber insert here, leatherette, and this integrated handle. I would wish some fabric here once again at the inside of the doors. Then you can slide this bench here forward and backward, and now we come to more differences between Sportback and SUV. In the normal SUV version, this bench here goes 2 centimeters more forward and backward because it's here limited. Since you cannot push it more further, the 3 centimeter lower roof line, the head restraints here would actually touch the roof line. That's why it can't be moved more backwards. So the trunk length then will be minimal longer. However then, the leg room will be minimal shorter. So here you see it still works with long legs when I am also driving, and there's also the practical recess here. But in the Q3 SUV, it was this longer as for the legroom. So if you want more legroom flexibility, the SUV would be better for you. If you want minimum longer trunk length, yeah, I mean, with this slidable bench, you can vary it anyway, you know. But here with the headroom, that was also like different. So here my hair is touching the seating, and if I put my spine up, my head is also touching the seating with 189. In the Q3 normal SUV, I had no problem. So a little bit limited also as for the headroom, indeed. Very interesting to know. Then here, cup holders, good quality, 3-point adaptive. Ski hatch, I'll soon show you from the trunk as well. Middle console, here with these clicking sounds from the vents, 2 USB-C chargers. In the lower part, you will also have, when the car is powered, some climate adjustment. To the trunk or the boot, both for the Q3 SUV and the Sportback, it's 490 liters. No change. Only when you fold the seats, and then the total volume is 1,290 versus 1,390 with the Q5 SUV. That's the only difference. And you can see you lose a little bit of height here, but that's basically it. Here the cabin trolley still fits underneath vertically. Of course, the SUV will be slightly more flexible then, but it doesn't make the biggest difference. Here the width, 1.40 meters, and the length is, you can see here, is about 92 centimeters or 36 inches. That is actually longer than with the SUV. 26 inches or 66 centimeters, and usually you could put this one here in a lower position, but since this one is the plug-in hybrid, to make space for the battery technology, they have put the fuel tank here underneath, so this one then does not have a lower position than in this case it would have with other engine versions. You can also, by the way, use the ski hatch here, so that is possible. You have more flexibility to make more trunk length, for example here with the sliding bench. You can also put the seats here more upright, so different possibilities you have there. That's actually a cool thing. And then you can of course fold this completely down and then have the total length here to the front seats. And there we are. Yeah, it's about 1.70 m something, 67 inches. Which one would you take? Price starts in Germany, for example, I can already tell, 46,500 euros, 1,500 euros above the normal Q3 SUV. Here the Sportback, a little bit more expensive, but on the other hand, you already start with the bigger wheels, for example. And if you spec it fully, maybe 75,000 euros as it stands here now. We have to see, maybe the plug-in hybrid a little bit less expensive depending on the market as well. But of course, it won't be a cheap SUV, but I think it's also well built. Finally, once again, as we saw, would you prefer the Sportback here? Tell me in the comments, or the SUV? You can check out the version here right now.